Finale of 2018, and the Saints have all that they want locked up and ready for the playoffs as they host Carolina on Sunday. Welcome to Game Plan with Juan Kincaid. I'm Sean Pazan.
Talk about that game feeling like preseason all over again. Panthers won't have Cam Newton. He's injured. Saints may not have Drew Brees or many other key players, but for an entirely different reason. It's all about balance, staying healthy versus staying sharp as they head into the postseason.
It's it's a little bit of a 30,000-foot view. It's like, all right, let's map out the next couple weeks here, right? As we prepare ourselves for that first playoff game. Obviously, we don't know who we're playing yet, but as you begin to think about that, you lay out a plan for your routine, and I think for us, just staying on course, right, with our practice habits and our preparation, and having a chance to get some guys healthy, which I think is the biggest part of that first round bye. And that's something that'll be much needed. And then when it's time to get back to work, I'm
going to specify for the fourth time. You ready? I can't be any more clear. All right, we're going to approach this game just like we would a regular season game. And if there's any changes to the lineups, I'll keep you posted. I'm done answering that question.
At one point in time, it looked like the Carolina Panthers would be the Saints' biggest problem in the NFC South.
But after 7 straight losses, those days are long gone. Instead, the Panthers limp into the final game of the season with little to play for. Realistically, Sunday will be a bit of a respite for the Saints. Winning is always the goal, but losing doesn't hurt. They won't have to leave the Dome again until the Super Bowl, should they get there.
It's significant, when you play these games, as important as they become, having your crowd affect the communication. I thought we got pretty loud this past game, and I know we'll be louder in the postseason, but it's what you work for at the beginning of the season. When you set your goals on winning the division, the next goal then is getting the best seed you can possibly get.
The last time they faced the Panthers, they faced Cam Newton, which was the last time Newton played this season. On Sunday, the Saints have Kyle Allen to contend with. This will be his first career start.
Well, look, he's smart. He locates the ball well, and I think that, quickly we're going to have to watch as much tape on him as possible. We were just talking about him in the staff room. So, he's one of a number of players that you remember, and yet at this where we're at, it's trying to pay attention. He's limited snaps this past weekend. What did the preseason look like, and then go back and read the reports.
Everything else remains relatively the same. Christian McCaffrey is still the Panthers' biggest offensive threat. Luke Kuechly is still the team's leader on defense. The Panthers are playing for pride at this point and avoiding a double-digit loss season. The Saints gain nothing out of the outcome, but still it's another game, and not everyone can take the day off.
46 on game day coming out of your 53. So anytime you line up to play, and anytime we prepare to play, there's really only one way to go about doing that. And I think that, I think there's a lot at stake relative to some individuals, but also the evaluation process, and then also as a team, being able to hit that 14th win. I think that's a lot.
Now, should the Saints win, they would finish 14-2, the best record in team history.
Well, once again, asking the question, what's more important for this football team right now? With the 1 seed clinched in the NFC, there's a chance you'll see Teddy Bridgewater on the field this Sunday. So far this season, it's off the field where the Saints' backup quarterback has shined. Garland Gillen has that story.
When the Saints acquired Teddy Bridgewater via trade in August, the organization knew they were getting a quality backup at quarterback. What Peyton and the Saints didn't know, they got one of the best dancers in the locker room. Teddy's bike life dance has taken over the black and gold locker room, and now the league has taken notice. Antonio Brown broke out bike life after his second touchdown of the contest.
Pass to the end zone. Pulled down. Touchdown. Antonio Brown second time today.
But the Saints feel like they're the only team that should do the dance, so Michael Thomas answered on his touchdown.
Steelers bring pressure. Breeze looks out to his right. He's going to throw it. Caught Mike Thomas.
Bike life is so popular in New Orleans, even the Breeze boys have caught on. Players, kids of players. Only person left not to do bike life, the head coach. Well, he has his own dance. For GamePlan, I'm Garland Gillen.
Thank you, Garland. Still to come, Ted Ginn Jr. returned to the field and made a big impact for the Saints. Up next, what the tape told us about the play that helped push the Saints to the victory over the Steelers.
You're watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
Here's a reminder that there are Saints fans everywhere in Atlanta. More people watched the Saints-Steelers game than the Falcons-Panthers game last Sunday. Perhaps they wanted to cheer for a winner for once. That's all the more reason to believe that if the Saints get to Atlanta for Super Bowl 53, it could be another home field advantage for the black and gold. 3rd and 20, not the ideal down and distance for any offense, but one the Saints faced and conquered in last week's win over the Steelers.
They sure did. And what the film study showed us was not only was it a well-designed play, it was also pretty simplistic. The formation is pretty simple. The Saints are in 11 personnel and are in a 3-by-1 alignment with Ted Ginn Jr., Keith Kirkwood, and Josh Hill on the right side with Michael Thomas on the left side. The concept is also pretty simple. Kirkwood and Hill are running clear-out routes with no real chance to catch the ball. Kirkwood runs down the seam, while Hill runs a skinny post. On the opposite side, Thomas is running a shallow cross with Ginn running a deep dig. On the snap, the Steelers are in a cover 4. Add up the numbers, and that's 7 defenders on 4 receivers. But watch how the play develops. Hill's route takes the safety on the opposite hash from Ginn. But as Kirkwood runs his route, the defender on Ginn peels off to take Kirkwood. The safety that was covering Kirkwood stays on him as well, which gives Ginn plenty of enough space for Drew Brees to make the throw. Ginn makes the catch, and the Saints get the crucial first down. Well, welcome back, Teddy Ginn. Without that conversion, I'm not sure the Saints win that game over the Steelers.
I think we're still waiting on to see the deep ball to Teddy Ginn. That's why he was brought here. Meanwhile, one noticeable difference in the Saints offense the past 4 weeks, the seemingly decreasing role of Taysom Hill. Against the Steelers, Hill's one pass was an interception on the team's first drive of the game. Sean Payton hasn't been afraid to use him lately. It just seems like he's being selective on when to use him.
And I think he's part of the offense. It's just when do you want to use this play? And on that, if it's a better ball, that's a touchdown. You know, I don't mind the play call. You know, you probably question it because it was during that first drive. But outside of that, you know, he has a place in this offense because he's an effective not only runner, pass blocker, and, you know, we're still waiting for that first catch or as far as to be able to get into the end zone with him. But, you know, I'm fine with him as far as effective.
My only gripe about the use of Taysom right now is when Sean Payton decides to use him. If the offense is in a rhythm with Drew Brees, don't mess with what's working on that drive. I've been saying it all year long.
It's not an easy thing to solve, but the Saints would rather have him than not have him. Still to come, how should the Saints approach Week 17? Luke Johnson of NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, joins us next to discuss the options.
You're watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
I think at the end of the day, you want to be able to stay healthy. You would love to be able to go out and get a victory. It would be 14 wins, the most ever in this franchise's history, which is important. But at the end of the day, it's about getting ready for the playoffs as well.
Saints Hall of Famer Deuce McAllister will be with us Sunday morning at 10 a.m. to preview the game, and Sunday night at 10:30 to wrap it all up. Come Monday, you can catch Deuce at 8 a.m., 5 p.m., and 10:35 right here on Fox 8. Always nice to have back with us Luke Johnson from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Deuce was talking about staying healthy and staying in sync. How does Sean Payton balance that? That's the most important thing right now as opposed to getting a win.
I think it's tough. I think it's tough because you only got 46 guys to work with. So even if you wanted to rest all 5 starters in the offensive line, you couldn't do it just because you don't have the manpower to do it. So I think you gotta let guys play a little bit, stay sharp, but don't let them play too long. Yeah, I don't think you wanted to go 3 weeks without playing, but you want to let them have some time in there. Make sure you get them out before they can do any damage.
Look, I think in that equation, staying sharp versus staying healthy, the most important one is staying healthy. We've seen in the past just how important health is going into the playoffs. Look back at 2009, all but one starter was healthy. Opening day starter was healthy for that postseason run. To me, and they sat starters that week, the week 17 and had the week off as well. So I think if you go by precedent, you go by experience, it's lean towards staying healthy as opposed to staying sharp. Because I think this offense is such a well-tuned, fine-tuned, well-oiled machine that they can pick up right where they left off.
If a player's on the field, there's a chance of them getting hurt. Simple as that, because you know how this game is. Having said that, any chance Drew Brees is on the field taking a snap?
Is there a chance? Sure, there's a chance. If it were up to me, absolutely not. I wouldn't even take the chance because what you would potentially gain, I know he's 8 yards away from 4,000 for every single season he's been here. That's great. I mean, I know they like records and all, but to me, what you could potentially lose if he's out there and somehow gets hurt, even if it was for, say, 10 or 15 snaps, to me is not worth it. To me, I wouldn't even activate.
I was going to say, that's
Drew
the question.
Brees. I wouldn't even activate him at this point. I would just have Bridgewater in and Taysom Hill in and go with that because I think, have to have 9 ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one spot where you can say they don't have to activate him, right? Because they've been using Taysom. They know they can use Taysom. They have Teddy Bridgewater. They're a capable number 2. You don't have to activate Drew Brees. Most teams go into the games with 2 active quarterbacks. So this is one where you could kind of steal a roster spot back by not playing your best player, your most important player.
I think it would be crazy to have Drew Brees anywhere near that sideline. Put him in a ball cap on the bench. All right, Teddy time. Bridgewater getting an opportunity this weekend. We know that's going to happen. Hard to believe it wouldn't. Is he auditioning for the Saints or for the other teams not wearing black and gold?
There are going to be 31 NFL football teams watching this game carefully to see what he does against a pretty solid defense. Yeah, even though I'm sure Carolina's going to be resting some guys too, so they have nothing to play for. I think there are quarterback-needy teams in this league. Itchy to see what Teddy Bridgewater can do outside of a preseason setting, and he'll get a chance to show it on Sunday.
Do the Saints need to see it more than other teams, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, Drew could be done by the end of this year. But I also, I saw today that Justin Herbert from Oregon is not coming out. He's going to stay for a senior year at Oregon. So that's one less quarterback available. So quarterback-needy teams, a young guy like Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to be a free agent. A good game for him. It may not be a foregone conclusion that all of a sudden he comes back to the Saints next year, even if Drew leaves, because the price for him could go up, up, and up as a quarterback. So we'll see. I think Teddy Bridgewater, it'll be his chance to play. He has a great game. It's good for him.
And Teddy's,
I'm sorry for interrupting. Teddy's 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
He's gonna command $15 million or more next year. I don't think there's any chance the Saints sign him.
And the fact that he's in an offense right now that he's been with for a while and he understands it, it would be an easy transition, it would seem, if this is Drew's last year.
Well, yeah. First off, if Drew's gone, I think there's a very good chance he's back next year.
Sure.
Yeah, if Drew's not gone,
if Drew's not gone, there's zero chance.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let's move on. So, all right, give me a key player that will surprisingly play on Sunday.
I think one of the offensive linemen will have to play. I'll go with Ryan Ramczyk. He's the youngest, and we had a few issues last week, but add it up, I don't know if there's a capable backup that you can say rest him. So I think Ryan Ramczyk.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sean. They have one healthy tackle on this team right now, not counting Andres Pete. So I imagine we'll see him sign somebody this week, but they can't sign 2 guys. So I think we'll see Ramczyk play most, if not all, the game.
I was surprised you guys didn't say Kamara or Ingram, especially Kamara.
I would rest Kamara.
Yeah.
I'd play Ingram. I would rest Kamara, though.
Look, we're agreeing.
How about this?
This is good.
I'm just going to send you guys messages in the mail. You can send me back your answers. Things to work on. Can they tweak some things in this game when it's almost pretty much a preseason game? Can they tweak some things that will help them continue to prepare for that first playoff game?
I don't think so. I think this is very much like a preseason game. I think you've shown plenty throughout the season. I think you can go into this one very bland, not show anything outside of the depth of your team. I think this is what this week is.
Yeah, pretty basic concepts, nothing spectacular. Don't show much. I don't think you learn much about this game. I think just get through this game as quickly as possible.
One thing we saw in the last game was the versatility of Andrews Peat, the offensive lineman, who played all over the place. How concerned are you, and you've already talked about this week, about Toronto Armstead's situation's injury, whether he comes back or not this year, going forward?
I'm very concerned. He came back 2 weeks after the 4-week window, so that was 6 weeks. They gave himself extra time to rest, and he still got re-injured. How much longer is he going to be out? If he re-injured, is it another 4-week window? And the 4-week window was clearly not enough the first time. So I think I'd be concerned that he may not play again for a long time.
I'm concerned about this year, although the fact that he went back into the game gives me a little bit more hope that maybe it was just something where he didn't want to push it any further than he already did. But next year, I think you can go into it. This is something you can heal from in the offseason. This is something that won't take up a whole offseason recovering from. I think I'm fine about him next year, outside of the whole, he's been hurt every year of his career thing.
Saints fans getting ready to go ahead and book those hotel rooms in Atlanta. Is it that simple to just think this team is going to be that good in these playoffs at home and continue to be undefeated?
No. No, I think anything can happen in the postseason. I think we've seen it before. I think we saw Jacksonville go to the AFC title game last year. You see teams get hot at the right time of the year every time, every NFL playoffs. And I don't think you can just sit back and say, like, this team is going to play great football all the way through and is a shoo-in for the playoff or for the Super Bowl, because anything can happen this time.
Yeah, no. Anything can happen. I mean, look how hard it was in 2009. Look how hard that game was against Minnesota. So it's not going to be easy regardless of the venue, but I do like the Saints' chances now the road goes to New Orleans.
Do you have to guard against complacency? Is that something Sean Payton's talking to players about? No?
It's the Super Bowl, man. Yeah. No way.
Yeah, I think once this week is through, I think they might get complacent this week.
Right, this week maybe, yeah.
But I think once this week is through, I think these guys will be focused. They've been focused all year. They'll be good to go.
Two more things. What concerns you the most of this football team as they go into the playoffs? I know you don't know who the opponent's going to be, but what concerns you the most?
I tell you, we just talked about it. I think Teron Armstead. I think if he's not there, and you got to do some shuffling on the offensive line, in particular if Jermon Bushwater is also a little banged up, not 100%, I think that can have a cumulative effect on this offense. I like the fact they're at home, but still, not having Armstead to me is a concern.
I still think you go back to what we saw last week against Pittsburgh. They gave up 380 passing yards in that game. If they go up against a really good passing team, they're going to have to score a lot of points. And we've seen, lately the offense has been a little bit shaky. I think that's just a little bit of a concern for me right now.
And having said that, which team scares you the most that could come in here and pull an upset against the Saints?
For me, it's the Chicago Bears. I think defensively they're built to travel. They're built to handle the crazy environment that's going to be, whether that's the NFC Championship game. I guess it would have to be the NFC Championship game. I know someone's talking about Seattle because of Russell Wilson, but for me, I think it's the Chicago Bears.
Khalil Mack against a potential, Jermon Bushrod.
Yeah.
That gives me nightmares on the Saints.
The one good thing about if they played Chicago, we're not going to Chicago. Yeah. Let's leave it at that with Luke Johnson. Noah.com at Todd Sticky and Luke, thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Stay with us here on Game Plan. When we come back, we go beyond the box score.
You're watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
Saints fans mostly think that their team is the favorite to win the Super Bowl, and the computer models at 538.com agree. New Orleans has a 32% chance of winning it all in February. The Chiefs are next with just half that many chances, followed by the Patriots and Rams. 11 other teams have a 5% or less chance to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in Atlanta. The Black and Gold entered the season with a 5% chance to win it all, and a projected record of 9-7. Teams that can make their own breaks are the ones that usually have the most success.
You are correct. And the Saints have shown many times this season that they are one of those teams. Garland Gillen went beyond the box score to show us a most recent example.
Roethlisberger takes the snap. Bell tie looks to his left. Back corner of the end zone. Wide open. Antonio Brown.
The Steelers appeared unstoppable in the third quarter against the Saints. They racked up 14 points, taking the lead over the Black and Gold. But in the fourth quarter, the pendulum swung in the Saints' favor. The defense forced 2 turnovers, including the game winner by Sheldon Rankins. It was the 4th consecutive game the black and gold D held the opposing offense scoreless in the fourth quarter.
It's a call where, if they go empty, one of our tackles drops out, so it just happened to be me on that play. Dropped out to number 3, and then I kind of read that they were kind of running a little screen, block it up type thing for Juju. Just kind of reacted to it, and, when I got there, when I wrapped him up to make the tackle, still felt he was just sitting on top of me. My reaction was to just kind of punch because I felt my hand kind of, near where the ball was. So punched through, and then, I felt the ball come out. And at that point, I'm just praying one of our guys gets it.
No one should be surprised the Saints defense is so opportunistic in crunch time. It's now expected of Dennis Allen's unit.
It's not just accident. That's just not coincidence, And when you don't get them, it's not an accident either. So I think it's a credit to the coaches and the players for hustling because it takes, but I think it's part of our jobs.
For GamePlan, I'm Garland Gillen.
We've got a full day of football on Fox 8 for you Sunday morning. Sean and I will be in the Dome on the floor at 10 a.m. for tailgate. The Saints and Panthers kick off at high noon. After that, get a scouting report on 2 of the teams that could visit New Orleans in the divisional round. Chicago and Minnesota come at 10:30. We'll wrap up the day and take a first look ahead at the playoffs on the Final Play.
And of course, you can always get in touch with us using the Final Word feature on the Final Play app. That will do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching Game Plan, and thanks to everyone here at Fox 8 for their contributions. Our next newscast is at 4:30 in the morning. Good night, everyone.
Ciao.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been Game Plan, sponsored by